Hello and welcome back to episode 36, another hour-long episode, so my apologies for that. Except if you love the length of these episodes being a bit longer, then you're very welcome. I tried to make them a bit shorter, but sometimes it depends on the races that we have. And in this episode, we have many races, but let's look first at the team rankings. The previous episode, we had a lot of second places, got us a lot of points, and we are now up to the 11th place in the team rankings in the UCI points. Obviously far away from that top 5 position, but a top 10 is getting slowly in reach, less than 1,000 UCI points to that mark. So there's a good chance that we can get up to them. And in the meantime, we want to obviously increase our lead on the other teams. The first race of today will be the Clásica Terres de l'Ebre, a mountainous stage, a one-day stage here, 190 kilometers, where that final mountain at the end will be very determining for the results of the stage. So we hope to do well here with Baptiste Grégoire or J1 Junior Paul Fietske, our mountain team here, hoping that they can prove a good result here in this race. Next up, we have the Prueba Vilafranca Ordizioco Clásica, a very long race here in Spain, for a very long name here for this race in Spain. Plenty of hills here, plenty of opportunities for our riders. As you can see, not the A team with us today. A lot of chances here for other riders, as this stage and the next one is being ridden during a different race as well. And on that race, we have our A team. But for this one, the Vuelta a Castilla y León, again determined as flat, but very, very hilly. Hoping once again for our riders, if it does end up in a sprint, it should be perfect for Severi or maybe Joseph Turnbull, and otherwise maybe one of our Korean riders can get a chance here as well, but definitely not a flat stage. And talking about long stages, here is a Volta a Portugal en bicicleta, an 11 stage race here, starting off with the first 5, starting off this race with a time trial, but look at that 5th stage as well. Mountains galore there at the end, bringing our A-team, our mountain A-team I should say, or almost our mountain A-team here, with Nois Dora, Paul Fietske, Owen Cole, J1 June, Diego Casniga for support, and Christoph Kroll, our sprinter, for the flat stages, as we have a couple of them, as you can see here also in stage number 6, a flat stage. Plenty of other hilly stages in the meantime, stage 7, stage 8, stage 9, stage 10, all of them are hilly, and we finish this race with the 11th stage, another time trial, so we start with one and we finish with one. An exciting race here in Portugal. I'm hoping to get a good result there as well. But let's start this episode off here with this race in Spain. Obviously that mountain there at the end will be troubling, but I'm hoping for Baptiste to get a good result here in this race. He is our main mountain rider. He has the best statistics in those mountains, so I'm hoping for him to do well, get a good result here. He is part of that top 10, not number 1, not top 3. But still part of the top 10, so maybe we can do an upset, maybe we can win here in this stage if he is one of the favorites. So I know he is around 7th place I think here, so maybe he can upset and get a better result than 7th. That is what we will be aiming for here in today's race with our French rider, but that means we do have to survive the mountain at the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This morning, some of the riders were carrying wide smiles. It goes without saying that it was neither the sprinters nor those who prefer the flat. Yes, it was the climbers, and the reasons were obvious. With today's conditions, the spotlight will be on them.
Definitely will be the case. Baptiste Grégoire also with excellent statistics today. Look at that, a 79 total here in his mountain statistics. So I'm hoping that will help him here in this tricky race. Obviously, we will not be part of the breakaway here, as I don't think they will make it to the end. And even if they would, that mountain at the end would definitely kill the remaining riders up front. So we will sit here in the peloton, but protect Baptiste Grégoire, try to relax here with J1 June, and protect Owen Cole, Paul Fietske as well at the same time. So we have 4 riders that we want to do well here at the end of this race. They have the best mountain statistics of the team, hoping for them to do well there at the race. You see me hovering also over the mountain there. You see the max gradient here, 16%, 8% average there, and it is a very long climb as well here, 16 kilometers of 8%. It will be grueling for our riders, and we are now at the 10-kilometer mark towards the end. Kim Song-bom already did his first pull, already exhausted after that. Diego as well. He will slowly but surely move down the peloton, and in the end get behind there as we try to move up here in this peloton, riding our own pace, making sure that we keep energy remaining here for our riders. The experience that we have now is that the red bar is important, yes, of course, but the yellow bar will matter the most. Our riders will slowly but surely get more and more exhausted as we ride up this hill, and once that yellow bar is gone, the red will soon follow. Paul Fietske not in the best way here in his energy, as you can see here, getting dangerously low already. Owen Cole, Jaewon Jun, Baptiste Grégoire looking very, very good here in this race. The pace of Owen Cole is insane, but you see his yellow bar slowly but surely diminishing, and that is not what we want here with still 7 kilometers remaining. I'm already using some energy gels here to try and maintain our riders here in this peloton. Other riders are attacking. I have no idea where they get their energy from. It is insane to me. So far, Baptiste Grégoire just cycling behind our riders, trying to keep up here with the peloton, with the riders that are attacking. And Baptiste Grégoire is indeed the only rider remaining here of the team that can make an effort here to win this finals, or to win this stage here, to win on this mountain here. 5 kilometers remaining still. He does catch up with a bunch of the riders in the breakaway, but it cost him too much energy. I did not pay well enough attention to him as another rider attacks here to go towards the front of this race. We try to sit up a bit, we try to recover some energy. It will be a very tough last 4 kilometers here in this race, and with 1.5 kilometers to go, you join us once again. The one rider is still ahead, 45 seconds towards that breakaway rider. There's not a lot of chance that we will get him. Maybe he is exhausting. That is what I'm hoping for. You see me upping the tempo here with Baptiste Grégoire. He is now in second position. The finish line is getting closer and closer and closer, but this last part is incredibly steep as well. You see here 9.5% gradient, slowly but surely going down to around 8 and then back up again to 10.5%. And this last little ledge here, this last little effort here kills Baptiste Grégoire completely. Tries to spin to as good of a result as possible, but the 12% gradient there really destroyed the legs of Baptiste Grégoire, and he gets across the finish line here as 4th. Around the 7th position in the favorites, so a 4th is still an improvement on that. I will take it. And Jaewon Jun obviously a bit behind here, trying to make sure that he gets across the line as well in as good of a position as possible. Not part of that top 10 favorites, also not part of that top 10 finish. A 13th place here for Jaewon Jun, a 14th place here for Owen Cole, and in the end an 18th place for Paul Fietske. So our mountain team doing all right, I would say. Once again, we were not one of the top favorites, we were one of the top 10 though, and we definitely made that come true here with Baptiste Grégoire. A very decent 4th place here with our French rider in these mountains. Jaewon Jun and Owen Cole around 2.5 to 3 minutes behind. A little bit disappointing, but they did do a lot of effort to try and make sure that Baptiste Grégoire got that good position. Kim Sung-bom all the way at the bottom, lacking the pace, lacking the effort required here for this incredibly difficult mountain. 4th in the team classification as well, even with poor result of Kim Sung-bom. So not too bad here for the team. 4th place also for Baptiste Grégoire. Again, pretty good result. Now let's move on here to this Spanish race. Again, another day stage race with plenty of hills, hoping once again that this will end up in a sprint finish, hoping it will be one for Ocean Fedity or Joseph Turnbull.
Hello and welcome. The profile of the route is a fairly mixed bag, so everybody should find a section to their pleasing. The race will take place in beautiful sunny conditions.
The conditions are great, but it does not reflect our riders too much here. Ocean Fedity looking very strong in this race, however a +3 here in his statistics. So hoping for a good sprint with him today. Joseph Turnbull as well, one of our main hill rider, mountain or hill riders slash sprinters here in the team, so I'm hoping for him to do well as well. Plenty of hills to survive first, as we will sit here in the peloton, defend our riders and focus on that last little hill where I'm sure people will try and push as hard as possible. It seems to be flattening out there towards the end, but there is a bit of a descent, so you want to get across that hill as first. That will be the goal of our team as well, and we will do our best to make that happen. As we move now towards the last 9 kilometers of this race, you see Joseph got across that hill as first, racing down the hill here to try and stay in front of the peloton. 8 kilometers remaining, so it's very tricky for him to do an all-out all-out effort. I tried to attack here, tried to break apart the peloton, tried to make sure that they are as disorganized as possible. There's no water left for Joseph Turnbull as well. There's no way that he's getting loose off these other riders, so no chance for him in today's stage to get a solo victory here across the line. 15 riders remaining here in the peloton, 4 kilometers remaining as well, trying to line up our sprint as well as possible behind the UAE rider, but I didn't notice, I think that's Morgado there in the Portuguese national jersey sprinting away there. I should have been in his wheel instead. I would have been in such a better position here in this little peloton. A little bit over a kilometer remaining. There's the 1 kilometer mark. I tried to sprint with everything that we have, but sadly other riders just a little bit better here in the sprint. No chance for us for a victory as the energy runs out. Other riders just simply better than Joseph Turnbull today in the race. So we tried our best, but we didn't have any lead-out riders here. He had to do it all by himself. And the 6th place is the best that we can do here in this Spanish one-day race. Asian Federaty actually getting across the line here as 20th as well. I don't think that'll do anything for the UCI points, but you know, still it is an increase, or it is a good result here for him to get that 20th place here in this day stage. The rest of our riders obviously finishing quite far behind as they weren't able to survive the mountains here or the hills in this race. A tough race here for us, but still a decent result here with Joseph Turnbull 6th place here for us today in this day stage race. A little bit less than the previous one, but hopefully that's not a sign for things to come as we enter another Spanish race here in the Vuelta a Castilla y León. Once again, it says that it's flat, but look at the terrain here. It seems hilly enough. If it does end up in the sprint, I'm hoping here that Severi will do a good sprint and get us a victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining. And, of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
I don't think we will be those opportunists today, as, again, the breakaway will probably not make it here towards the end, so we will sit here in the peloton, make sure that we defend our riders, defend Joseph Turnbull, defend Severi Savakovsky, and just see if we can make it here towards the end with our sprinters and deliver a good sprint here. Improve on that 6th place, improve on that 4th place. Try to get a podium or a victory here in today's race as we just, you know, make sure that our riders are all lined up. And with 6 kilometers to go, our riders have made it decently well here towards the end. The only negative is that the breakaway is still away and they are thriving. 22 seconds ahead, we are not getting any closer, as even though we are pushing very, very hard here with the team. 3 kilometers remaining, so we should be able to catch back up with them. But again, you see that gap not really closing. 18 seconds still left on the breakaway. I think they are going to make it all the way here towards the end as we push here towards that finish line, trying to make sure that we catch those riders here towards the end. 1 kilometer remaining here. Try to sprint here with Severi Savakovsky and Joseph Turnbull. Severi trying to get closer and closer towards the breakaway, but again loses his energy around 100 meters towards the finish line. Does not get up, catch up to the riders in the breakaway, and ends up here in 6th once again. So a 4th place and 2 6th places here today in this episode. It doesn't seem like the results are coming in as we had in the previous stage, but that is alright. These are very tricky stages here. A lot of mountains, a lot of hills. It is truly a test here for the team to do well. Even in this so-called flat terrain, I don't think it was a very flat terrain here, as Severi sprints toward a 6th place. The rest of our team getting across the line a little bit later. As you can see here, the Korean riders still in so much difficulty in these types of races. They do their best, but these races are just slightly too tough for our riders. 13th place for Joseph Turnbull as well. So 2 riders in the top 15 amongst some of these top sprinters here in the world. Great job here by the team. Severi basically being the best of the rest. So great job here by our Finnish rider. As we head now to the first stage of the Volta a Portugal. As mentioned before, it is a time trial, so it will be very interesting to see how this will pan out here for our riders. And we have, once again, most of our A-team with it. I think this would be a good preparation for any Grand Tour if we were riding those. So we will take this tour very serious here in this first stage. Once again, time trial, so I'm hoping for Paul Fietske, our time trialist, to do well well here. There's also a time trial at the end, so those 2 time trials should be the aim for us to do well, hopefully gain some seconds and gain an advantage here with our riders. And you see here I'm a bit late here with controlling Paul Fietske, our main time trialist, and when I do get the chance, I kind of think, you know what, I'll let the AI do it and see how far he gets. And of course the AI rides him all the way to a first place here in the time trial. Great job here by our German time trialist with fantastic stats. And so I decide to show the route here to you guys with Owen Cole instead, who has a +8 here on his prologue and a +5 on this time trial. Again, a very short time trial, so we basically go all out here from the start, push on here towards the finish line, and Owen Cole also gets towards the finish line here as second. A very good result here for the team. First and second place here by 2 of our riders, so really strong performance here by the team. And that means that we have a perfect start here to this Portuguese stage. Obviously, it's a very long tour, a lot of stages, a lot of fighting that needs to be done, but being in the leader jersey at the beginning is a nice place to be here for the team. Only 2 seconds of a gap here towards Owen Cole and a bunch of other riders. Plenty of our other riders also doing rather well here. You see here 14-second gap, 12-second gap towards Paul Fietske. Even Kim Sung-bom only 30 seconds behind the number 1. And as you can see, still at the bottom of the timesheet here. So not a great result here for our Korean rider, but that means that not a lot of time to be gained here on these other riders. And that's okay. We weren't the best time trialists here in this tour, and I'm happy to show that here with our German rider. So great start here of the Volta a Portugal. On to the second stage, which should be a sprint. Christoph Kroll is the favorite of this race. Let's see if he can make that favorite rule come true.
Welcome. It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining. And, of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
There are bonus seconds here at the beginning of the stage, an intermediate sprint there, and another one relatively early here in this race as well. So 2 intermediate sprints. That's why I'm sending out Owen Cole maybe to get some additional bonus seconds here in this race. They wouldn't let Paul Fietske go, but maybe they will let Owen Cole go. But you see the peloton here right on our heels, catching up to us almost immediately here as we try and jump away to be part of the breakaway. So no real chance for us to be part of the breakaway, no real chance here for us to get away. And so I basically relax Owen Cole back into the peloton. We will defend him and Paul Fietske today, and of course Christoph Kroll, the favorite of today's race, hoping for us to get another good result here in the second stage of the Volta here in this race in Portugal. So you see me moving Jaewon Jun up here in this race, trying to get him into the breakaway, trying to get those bonus seconds, but I will tell you, it will be too difficult here for our rider to join that breakaway, and in the end it's just a waste of energy. While I protect our other riders in the meantime in this race. Now on to the last 7 kilometers of this stage. As you can see here, the breakaway obviously has been caught. There has been a split in the peloton, so that it should be good here for our riders. Around 43 riders behind the peloton here as we move towards the front here with 5 kilometers left to go. Still 4 riders remaining, so we can keep pushing on here in this race. A little bit of a downhill section as well, so we won't lose too much energy here while we're maxed out in the effort here with Owen Cole, our American rider, looking very strong in today's stage, even though he has minus statistics. A little bit less than 3 kilometers to go, so we can hand over that lead-out role to Nois Dora. And once again, Christoph Kroll, the favorite here of today's race, hoping for him to do well. But other riders sprint rather early here. It is an unexpected sprint here for us, and so I sprint also a little bit late here with Christoph Kroll. Can Christoph Kroll pass these other riders here in front? No, the other riders just sprinted a bit too cleverly here for us. No chance for us to gain on these riders. Christoph Kroll ending up here in 6th. A wasted sprint here for us as we got caught off guard here by these other sprinters. Maybe we should have sprinted a little bit earlier, as well as we have a little bit energy left on Christoph Kroll, but the other riders just simply a little bit smarter than us in today's race. So not as good of a result here in the second stage of the Volta. Paul Fietske also getting across the line a little bit later, and you see here a minute gap to many of these other riders as well, so that I'm hoping should prove well here for the general classification. Paul Fietske still in first place, great result there still for him. Owen Cole moving down 1 spot, not getting any additional bonus seconds here. Diego actually moving up a couple of positions as well, and this is where we will see the difference here between our riders that were in the front and those riders that were all the way in the back, behind at the peloton. Christoph Kroll, 24 positions upwards, not really getting any bonus seconds, but just that positioning was good enough here. Kim Sung-bom as well, moving up 46 positions. So all those riders that were behind moving down, while Kim Sung-bom moves all the way up here. A great result here for the team, moving up a lot of positions, gaining a lot of time on these other riders. But the fight at the top of this general classification is still on. The gap not very large here with the team, so it will be a very tricky next 9 stages. 9 stages still left here for us to try and get a good result. Tried to win this very tricky tour. Again, one of the perfect preparations. Sorry about that. One of the perfect preparations, I think, for a Grand Tour here. And honestly, which riders would we pick in a Grand Tour if we would ride one? I'll do a poll here as well, so please fill out that poll while we move into the 3rd stage here of the Volta. An uphill finish here. It should be perfect for Noah Isidora. Plenty of intermediate sprints as well with those bonus seconds. Let's see how we can do.
It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining. And, of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
And I think today we might be those opportunists. Once again here with Owen Cole, 3rd now in the general classification, still 4 seconds behind Paul Fietske here. There's plenty of bonus seconds to be had here. The peloton seems to let him go this time, not chasing after Owen Cole as much, but they're still relatively putting in a lot of effort here. 30 seconds now off the peloton, and I'm hoping that will prove a good enough of a time here for Owen Cole to stay away in the break. In the meantime, we'll defend Paul Fietske, of course, for the mountain area. Noah Isidora also with fantastic statistics today, a +2 here on the statistics, so I'm hoping for him to do a good job there as well. I don't think this is one for Christophe Kroll. I think it's slightly too steep here in this race, but we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, we'll try and bother the riders that are trying to chase after Owen Cole here in the peloton, try to make sure that Owen Cole can stay away, but sadly he was caught and sadly was unable to be part of that breakaway journey. Well, we move on here now to the last 5 kilometers, or last 6 kilometers I should say, of this race, where we are here up front trying to move for a bit of a sprint section here in this race, trying to move forward, make sure that we have that best position here before that final section. We have a lot of riders with a lot of energy remaining, so there's plenty of opportunities for us to keep pushing here and make it difficult for many of these other riders. 3 kilometers remaining, making it difficult on the remainder of the peloton while we push on here. The energy not moving away as quickly as I thought. Jaewon Jun absolutely exhausted, probably had to chase after a bit of other riders and lost a lot of energy here, so hoping for him to catch up here in this race with a little bit over a kilometer remaining, sprinting with everyone that we have. This should be the terrain of Noah Isidora, hoping for him to show his punctureness in this race, and it's looking like it will be Noah or Paul Fietske in this race. It is indeed Noah Isidora. Paul Fietske in second, 3rd place for Owen Cole. A top 3 here for KoRail. A great result here for the team. Christophe Kroll also ending up here in 6th place, so very, very strong here by the team. 4 riders in that top 10 position. A fantastic result here, while the remainder of our riders finishing a little bit behind, having a little bit of a gap towards the peloton. Slightly too exhausted, pushed our riders all the way towards that front, kept them in front, gave everything here for that top 3 finish here with Noah Isidora, Paul Fietske and Owen Cole. A great result here by the team. The reward are these trophies and the flowers here for Noah Isidora, and of course plenty of bonus seconds here, so I'm hoping that that will prove worthwhile for the general classification. As you can see, thankfully we all finished at the same time here in this race, so that won't negatively impact Kim Sung-bom or Jaewon Jun. That is a very good thing for us, and another around 10 to 20 riders here losing another 1 to 2 minutes on the peloton once again. Those riders having a lot of difficulties here in this race. Paul Fietske in first, still increasing his lead now to 6 seconds on Owen Cole, who is 6 seconds behind Paul Fietske. Noah Isidora now 11 seconds behind Paul Fietske as well, so moving up plenty of positions. The remainder of our riders also moving up or down a couple of positions depending on their finishing position in the peloton. So yeah, doing pretty well here also in the 3rd stage. In the end, a good result here for the team classification, or for their team in the general classification, as we have once again 3 riders in the top 10, plenty to play for before. Plenty of stages still left to go, so I want to temper the expectations here, as there's still plenty of opportunities for this to go wrong and can still mess up in many ways. But for these first 3 stages, we are solidly in the lead, and we are looking good and strong here with the team. Also first in the team classification, of course. The first place in the point classification and second place should also get us plenty of points, as you can see there, moving our riders all the way up into second, third, and fourth place in that points classification. Now on to the 4th stage, where it starts to get tricky. Plenty of mountains and hills here in this 4th stage. As you saw there, Noah is one of the favorites of today's race, but it will be a very difficult one, as a big mountain there, around 30% of this race, and then that last section with a lot of uphill sections. I'm hoping that our mountain riders will do well here.
The route is fairly hilly, so there should be plenty of action.
I think very hilly is the very good description for this race. Noah Isadora is up front here, and I'm sending him out early to get some additional bonus seconds. Once again, one of the favorites here in today's race. He does have really good statistics, as you can see, +3 as well there. So I'm hoping that that will help him in this race, in today's stage. He will be part of that breakaway. We'll be trying to get as far as possible here to maybe get a solo success here in this race. This stage does fit our rider here, so I'm hoping for him to get away here, make a good performance, hopefully supported by these other riders in the breakaway, and then at the final part try to jump away and succeed at getting across the finish line solo. That is what we'll aim for. If that doesn't succeed, then at least we have Owen Cole and Paul Fietske. And now 14 kilometers from the finish line, you see Noah Isadora was still one of the riders here in the breakaway, absolutely exhausted by all his efforts trying to get towards that finish line, but sadly in the end does not make it. He will slot back into the peloton, hopefully make it here towards the finish line, hopefully still do a good result here, but his energy gel is already used, and we still have 12 kilometers to go as his yellow bar moves away here in this race. So he will have a very difficult last 11 kilometers here of this race, already falling slowly but surely off our lead out train here, hoping for him to just find his own groove and do his own thing while we enter that downhill section of the first hill, hoping to recover some energy, try to keep our riders here in front, try to make it difficult here for any other rider here in the peloton. Noah is one of the best downhill sections, or downhill statistics I should say, in this tour as well, so I'm hoping for him that he can regain a lot of energy here in this downhill section, not make it too difficult here for the remaining 30 riders in this peloton. A lot of other riders are already behind, as you can see they're creating a bit of a gap here towards those other riders, but the moment we hit the uphill section, Noah Isadora's energy just moves away immediately. 5.5 kilometers remaining. We just have to survive towards the top of this mountain, which will be right over here, and then we can head into that downhill section, trying to escape here with Owen Cole and Paul Fietske. I know it will be important to get into that downhill section as first. The top of this mountain does not seem entirely reached yet, as we finally hit that downhill section, trying to recover as much energy as possible. Once again, 5 riders here now in front are 5 riders that will make it here in this tour, will make it towards the finish line, looking very, very strong here. Are Owen Cole and Paul Fietske. The yellow bar important here to try and survive towards that finish line. A little bit over a kilometer remaining. I try to survive here with Owen Cole for as long as possible, try to jump from the wheel with Paul Fietske, but the rider to the right is just slightly too strong for Paul Fietske in the sprint stats, and the British rider here wins just in front of Paul Fietske. 6 bonus seconds will be there for our German rider, while Owen Cole finishes as 9th, trying to jump here as quickly as possible with Jaewon Jun and Noah Isadora as well to limit the time loss here with our riders, but not as good of a result as I was hoping for here with the team. Second place, at least, with Paul Fietske, who wasn't one of the favorites in today's stage, but I think we made it difficult enough for many of these other riders that they fell behind. Jaewon Jun finishing about a minute and a half behind. Noah Isadora 2 minutes behind as well, so those bonus seconds, he probably got plenty of bonus seconds here in this stage, but those are all for naught as he finishes 2 minutes behind the peloton. You see the British rider moving up a ton of positions now, only 20 seconds behind Paul Fietske. Owen Cole moved down to third, 25 seconds behind Paul Fietske as well now. So not a great stage here for him, finishing a little bit behind Paul Fietske, but that makes sure that Paul Fietske here finished as second and is still first in the general classification. The British rider moving up plenty of positions here, hoping for us to keep that lead here in this race, obviously with our German rider getting many more points at the finish line as well. Now first in the points classification as well, so that's always a good thing. And of course first in the younger riders classification thanks to his position in the general classification. We moved down in the team classification to second, but that is not the aim for today's episode or for today's race, as we want to try and get as good of a result as possible here in the Volta. Moving on now to that fifth stage, which will be one of the defining stages, I would say, of this tour. Very, very mountainous, very hilly, very, very difficult here for our mountain riders.
And welcome. This morning, some of the riders were carrying wide smiles. It goes without saying that it was neither the sprinters nor those who prefer the flat. Yes, it was the climbers. And the reasons were obvious. With today's conditions, the spotlight will be on them.
Yeah, the sprinters will definitely be suffering here in today's stage. I was thinking of sending someone out here once again, but most of our riders are either in the middle of the peloton or too far behind, and with that hill at the end, or with that mountain at the end I should say, it will be much too difficult for them to survive that mountain and still get a good result if they go into the breakaway. So I will stay here in the peloton, make sure that we are safe and save as much energy as possible. There's still a very large mountain also in the middle of today's stage with plenty of mountain points that we will not go for, as again we want to get a good general classification result here in this tour. So again, we would just protect our riders and try to survive up until that mountain, where we reach it now with 8 kilometers remaining. Plenty of our riders already out of energy. I tried to push on here as quickly as possible with our sprinters, and obviously our less qualified mountain riders already lost all their energy. You see the toll it takes on Noah Isidora as well. A bit of a hill rider, but definitely not one for the steepness of these mountains, as the yellow, or as one of the riders here on the left is attacking. Plenty of riders trying to make it, so it will be very difficult for many of these other riders. Paul Fietske out of energy as well, suffering here in this part of the mountain section. Still 6 kilometers remaining. It will be a very long day in the office for our riders as we try to make it harder and harder for many of these other riders as well. I probably should have relaxed much more here. I tried to take the initiative, try to make it difficult here for the other riders. We are first in the general classification, so I want to make it very, very difficult for other riders. Want to show that we are the leading team here in this tour, but more riders here breaking away from the peloton. I thought we set a high enough pace here to make it difficult for our riders. Still 3 kilometers remaining, so I need to do an attack here with Owen Cole to try and bridge the gap, trying to make it difficult here for many of the other riders up front. Owen Cole seeming to be the strongest rider in today's stage. Paul Fietske having to let his wheel go, but Owen Cole also runs out of energy rather quickly here in this tour, and with 2 kilometers remaining we lose the wheel of the riders up front. There's no chance for us to really come back here in this stage, and we will just suffer here for the remainder of this stage. A kilometer remaining for the riders in front, and we will suffer here to try and get across the finish line as quickly as possible, but it will be such a difficult task here for our team. And joining now where plenty of riders have already finished, you see some of these other riders still have energy to do a little bit of a sprint effort towards the finish line here. 16th place in the end for Owen Cole, 17th here for Paul Fietske, and 18th for J1 June. So our riders finishing plenty of minutes, as you can see here, almost 3 minutes behind the number 1 in this race, and that moves us down all the way into 11th and 13th. A poor result here today for the team. One of the defining mountain stages, one of these stages where we should be doing well and hopefully get a good result. Once again proving too difficult for the team, so I struggle with what to do with the team here, as I want to be better in these mountain stages. We do have the riders that have the statistics for this. I don't think Owen Cole and Paul Fietske are the worst in those stages, but I feel like they're just barely not good enough to really get good results when it comes to these mountains. In that sense, Baptiste Grégoire should be better, but he just does not seem to have the stamina for making these consistent efforts here up these mountains. So it will be a very tricky scenario on what to do here with our riders, as you can see here, trying to figure out what the statistics are. And yeah, it's just slightly too difficult here for the American and German rider in today's stage. Now on to stage number 6, another flat stage, one perfect for the sprinters, hoping to get a better result here, maybe win back some of that time that we lost in the previous one.
The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton. The heat will weigh on today's race. The riders will have to drink plenty.
All the bonus seconds here are at the end of today's stage, so I'm hoping once again for one of our riders to make it towards it and get those bonus seconds and do a good sprint here to win the stage. For that, we want to be in the breakaway, so obviously I send out Paul Fietske, the German rider who might get a good classification still, 13th place, almost 3 minutes off the number 1, trying to be in the breakaway, trying to get some of those bonus seconds and hopefully decrease the gap towards that number 1. But it will be a very tricky stage here, as once again, I think this race will definitely end up in a mass sprint, but we do make it towards that first intermediate sprint point where Paul Fietske very easily sprints towards a first place here in the breakaway, and we try to push on here. The peloton is about a minute away here from the breakaway, so we want to push on, try to make it towards the second intermediate sprint and try to get 3 additional bonus seconds there as well. Giving an all-out effort here is Paul Fietske, making it towards that second intermediate sprint. Still 3 minutes remaining now on the peloton, so it seems more likely that he will make it, but a bit of a spoiler alert, he sadly does not. We put on a lot of effort to try and make it here towards the finish line. It was looking good, but at the last couple of kilometers, the last 20 kilometers, the peloton was just going too quickly here, and he was unable to keep up the pace, losing too much energy, and sadly did not make it here towards the end. 5 kilometers remaining, so let's go for that good sprint here towards the end. Christoph Kroll, the designated sprinter here of today's stage. Some of the other riders already kind of sprinting away here, so the stage is being very weird in how it's showing the other sprinters try to get towards the front, I guess. Not entirely sure what's happening there. With 2 kilometers remaining, a little bit of an uphill section. Other riders already sprinting, so we decide to sprint early as well here with the team. 1 kilometer remaining, sprinting now with everyone. Christoph Kroll jumping off the wheel of Noah Isidora. An excellent sprint here, brought him to a great position, and Christoph Kroll finishes the job here, getting into first. A fantastic result here for our Czech rider. The 3rd place as well for Noah Isidora, so very, very good here for the seconds, for the bonus seconds here that we will get at the finish line here of this race. I'm wondering where Paul Fietske will finish. I'm hoping it will be part of the peloton. It seems to be like it, so he doesn't lose any bonus seconds here, and hopefully moves up a little bit in the general classification. The trophy and the flowers, of course, for our Czech rider here, doing a great job sprinting towards a victory in the 6th stage of the Volta a Portugal. A very tricky stage here, but in the end, a sprint stage as I had predicted. So, good result here for the team, getting another victory here in this stage. I would be happy to do that in any of the Grand Tours, to be honest. So, at least we finished as well at the same time. Paul Fietske not really moving up any positions, but is now the same time as Owen Cole. So that is looking pretty good here for our German rider. Any additional bonus seconds should moving up, same for Owen Cole. Diego moving up some positions, and the remainder of our riders sitting in the same place. Christoph Kroll, even with the 10 bonus seconds, not moving up at all. Noah Isidora jumping into first, however, in the points classification, 1 point in front of Christoph Kroll. Good result here for the team at the moment. We are having 3 riders in the top 10 of the Young Riders classification as well. So once again, we are looking very good, but the gap needs to be decreased here towards that British rider. Still around 3 minutes, or just a little bit less than 3 minutes towards the number 1. And with a downhill sprint today, I don't think we will be able to decrease that gap, but let's see.
The route is fairly hilly, so there should be plenty of action.
A very hilly stage once again here in today's stage. Do I send someone out to get those bonus seconds? Of course is the answer, because those bonus seconds here at the beginning will or could prove important later on. We still have 4 stages to go after this, so plenty of chances for us to get a better position in the general classification, and those bonus seconds might help in that effort. So we send out Owen Cole, of course, to try and move on into the breakaway, try to get those bonus seconds. He is the best classified rider here of the team, so why not try and do that here, hopefully get a good result here with him. In the meantime, we'll obviously protect Paul Fietske, who's looking much better today. No negative statistics here for him, so I'm hoping that will help him here. With 10 kilometers left to go, we pushed up this mountain. We did everything to try and push on and get towards the front of this pack here, but the peloton is going so incredibly fast. Our riders having no energy left here in this stage. The yellow jersey even gapping towards the peloton, and we want to close that gap, as once we get into that downhill section, that is where it will become more and more difficult to do anything. Pavlíček kind of stuck here in the peloton, trying to worm his way through it, trying to get further and further towards that front just before that downhill section, but we have hit that downhill section, and now it's a race towards the bottom. Try to get as good of a sprint as possible in that downhill section. No, he's not one of the best downhill riders here in this tour, so I'm hoping for him to do a good result here as well. Pavlíček makes it actually towards the front of this peloton, which is a surprise. No, he's trying to chase after him. Owen Cole in the wheel of Pavlíček as well, sprinting very, very early here with 3 kilometers left to go. This might be a mistake. I don't know how it levels out here. It might level out a bit too quickly here with 3% remaining in the last kilometer. I sprint a bit late here with Pavlíček, and Noah Isidore should have sprinted way earlier here with our riders, and that means that we lose a lot of positions towards the finish line. The British rider in the yellow jersey winning the 7th stage here of the Volta a Portugal, so no chance for bonus seconds here for us in today's stage, and it will increase, I should say, the gap even further here towards the number 1. A poor result here for the team. Owen Cole getting the bonus seconds at least at the beginning of the stage, so he moves up a little bit in the time, but once again we move down more than we have gained in today's stage. A very tricky stage here with the team. We are still first in the points, however, so great for us, I guess. Third in team classification as well, but a bit disappointing in what our standing is at this moment. On to the 8th stage again here, where we have another uphill finish. It should be perfect for the punchers, maybe one for Owen Cole, Pavlíček, or Noah Isidore. Are 3 riders that should do well here in this stage.
It's an undulating route, so it will be a tactical race. The heat will weigh on today's race. The riders will have to drink plenty.
A very difficult stage is predicted right here. I don't think it will be a mass sprint as it is predicted a bit earlier. I think Christophe Krol this stage is a bit too difficult here for Christophe Krol. I'm contemplating sending out Noah Isidore, as once again he is a rider that fits this terrain, that fits this type of stage, but the losing of seconds, I should say, or the effort to put into the breakaway and then losing all that time at the end of the stage does not seem worth the effort. So it's better to sit here in the peloton and protect our riders. Pavlíček also with minus statistics today, so not looking super good. Same here for Owen Cole. A bit disappointing here in the team. I wish they would do a little bit better in the statistics wise, but it just seems a bit too difficult, a bit too much here for our riders at this moment. As we move on now towards the last 4 kilometers, I would say the last 4 kilometers, but there's riders still in front of us, 3.5 minutes in front of us, so we are struggling here to try and catch up with them. I don't think we will in the end. 5 kilometers remaining for us, 2.5 kilometers remaining for the group in front. I'm pushing as hard as I can to try and diminish the gap towards the riders in front, but I think I'm giving a service to other riders here in the team that don't want that to happen, so maybe not the best choice here for us as we give everything to basically sprint up this mountain. I don't know how long this mountain is, there's no indication here for us, as the indicator says it here for the breakaway riders who will definitely finish in front of us. A group of around 6 to 7 riders here, so it will be, all the bonus seconds will be already taken by the riders in front. 1 kilometer remaining. I tried to sprint here with Pavlíček, who's looking very, very strong here in this race. His energy does run out, and the rider in the yellow jersey once again escapes here from Pavlíček, moving away towards that finish line. A little bit, no gap thankfully here towards those riders, so we won't lose any time on them. But a 7th place for the yellow jersey here, and a 9th place in the end for Pavlíček. So another little bit of a disappointing result here, and indeed a little bit of a gap there towards the end. I don't know what the stage in the end will say. Hopefully there won't be a gap. Yes, a 5-second gap towards the yellow jersey. So he increases his gap once again. The British rider, we are in such a it's such a frustrating race here for us, because we are giving everything here to try and get towards the front. Other riders, even in the top 10, as you can see, falling behind, so we move up a couple of positions, move up 3 positions here with our riders, which is great, which is very, very good here for the team. Very happy with that, but it's just we should have gotten a bit of a gap on the yellow jersey. He just seems too strong, the British rider here, for the team, looking much, much more powerful than our riders at this moment. So it's a bit of a disappointing result here for the team. Once again, a stage where I was hoping that Noah Isidore would prove his worth, but he just fell behind a bit too much here in this stage. No chance for us to even catch up to that breakaway as well. So the two riders here of Euskaltel, just a bit too strong here for our team, and yeah, once again creating a bit of a gap towards our riders, losing out on a couple of those seconds once again. Third place still in the team classification, however, so we maintain that place, but now we have Owen Cole and Paul Fietske in a top 10 position, so an 8th place for him, a 10th place for Paul Fietske. 2 riders in the top 10. Another downhill sprint in the 9th stage, however, so let's see if we can do a little bit better in this.
It's an undulating route, so it will be a tactical race. The heat will weigh on today's race. The riders will have to drink plenty.
I think it was 7th stage with a downhill sprint won by the British rider. The previous stage improved his time on our team as well. So not looking super great here for us, and I'm hoping that in this stage there is a chance that we can stay away once again. The previous stage proved that the breakaway could make it, so I'm hoping that this one will prove it as well. Standing out Noe Isidore, who is plenty of time behind the number 1. He should be able to be allowed into that breakaway. Tried to get some bonus seconds here in this race, as well as he has that points jersey there on his shoulders here in orange. So you never know what will happen here. 30-second gap on the peloton. We will do our best to try and stay in this breakaway, hopefully towards the end of today's stage. Now, with 10 kilometers left to go, you see that has failed as well. And again, the energy used by Noe Isidore was a bit too much. So he got behind the peloton now, almost 10 minutes behind the peloton, being in the breakaway. Not worth it here for our riders, as you can see. Paul Fietske struggling to stay on the wheel of Owen Cole, who just seems so incredibly strong in this race. These hilly stages really fitting him, these little hilly and mountain stages really fitting him here. So he keeps pushing on here towards that finish line, and just at that finish line we try to attack here in this race, try to make it as difficult for the riders behind us, because again it will be a much of a downhill section, so we want to move up here, try to make an attack here on the peloton, try to make it difficult for the riders behind us so they cannot follow us or cannot do a good enough job in the following of us to try and win today's stage. We are looking very, very strong here today as we do another attack here with Owen Cole. He uses up all his energy, however, so it's not ideal here for us as we try and push on here in this race. A good downhill statistics here for our American rider. The steepness here finally playing into his efforts here, into his statistics, and we try and sprint here with a little bit over a kilometer to go. Again, it is still downhill in this section. This other rider just squeezes through the other riders, so the Portuguese rider doing an excellent job here in this downhill sprint, and in the end Paul Fietske getting in second and Owen Cole in third, just losing out towards the Portuguese rider here. No gap as well towards the other riders, sadly, so not increasing our time even further here on the yellow jersey. At least we will get some bonus seconds for our efforts, so that is a good job here by us. But we wanted to increase that gap even further. The British rider just seems much too strong here in this race. At least we move up now even more positions to 7th and 8th here with our rider within that 3-minute mark here now with the team. A big gap also towards that 6th place here, who's almost a minute and 45 seconds towards that number 1, but we are almost at 3 minutes, so it will be a very tough time here for us to catch up towards these other riders and try to make up that time. I think the best that we can do at this moment, you see our Noe Isidore falling further behind, the best that we can do is just try and maintain the position that we have at this moment. 2 riders in the top 10 is still pretty good, currently in 7th and 8th, as you can see here, and yeah, hoping that will help us in this tour as well. Hoping that if that finishes, at least we get a decent amount of points in this tour. Plenty of points here for the team as well. Still 3rd in the team classification, so in that sense we're looking good, but our riders aren't looking as super great, and it's going to be another difficult stage here in the 10th stage. Just the next stage will be a time trial, but let's survive these mountains first.
Mountain stages are especially interesting to watch. It's not by chance that the major events to have marked the history of cycling have taken place on mountainous terrain.
a very mountainous stage today, a very difficult stage. No Isadora with a -2 as well, that will not help us. Owen Cole with a +1 at least, so that's good. Hopefully that will improve his mountain stats a little bit further here. I want to attack with our rider to try and see if there is a possibility of a breakaway escape, but again, the breakaway already formed, so Kim Sung-bom unable to join that breakaway, and that means that we will just sit here in the peloton and try to protect our riders. Owen Cole and Paul Fietske, the two main riders here of the team in 7th and 8th. We want to protect that position here. It will be a very difficult time here to do so, as once again, that hill at the end, horrible, and we have 2 more hills in front of that as well. This is the Queen stage of the Volta, plenty of mountains in today's stage, and we're just praying that we will survive them. So with 8 kilometers left to go, you see here we are making an effort to try and get Paul Fietske and Owen Cole towards that finish line. Our other riders already did their job here in these mountains. Kim Sung-bom and Christophe Kroll trying to stay together to try and get Christophe Kroll across the line at a decent pace, or not within the time limit, I should say, as the mountains were just too difficult here for our Czech rider. He is a sprinter after all, so what is to be expected. 6 kilometers remaining, trying to move forward here now in the peloton, riding our own pace, try to make it difficult for the other riders. We want to make it there towards the end. Again, the yellow bar is the limiting factor here for our riders. We know that if that disappears, the red bar will soon follow after, so we don't want to push too hard here. We also don't want to make it too difficult for our other riders. As you see, Paul Fietske having troubles once again, no Isadora, as well as these mountain sections. These gradients are a bit too tricky here for our riders in this stage. Plenty of difficulty here with 4 kilometers remaining. Other riders moving forward once again, try to make it more and more difficult here for our riders and for the yellow jersey here. 3 kilometers remaining and Noah Isidora is done. Paul Fietske honestly as well. You see him launching off the wheel of Owen Cole, unable to keep up here in this race. So Paul, just ride your own race, ride your own tempo and try to do your best here, as Owen Cole is just trying to make sure that he gets a good result, tries to win some time here on the yellow jersey. You see me positioning as well here behind the yellow jersey, so if it becomes a sprint here, then we can do our best and try to, sprint from the wheel of the yellow jersey, try to get some bonus seconds here in the final parts of this stage. 500 meters remaining. I try to do a little bit of an attack here with 300 meters, try to jump from the wheel of the yellow jersey, try to do a final sprint here, but the energy very quickly vanishes in this race. No chance for us to do a very good result here, as the 4 riders in front getting across the line a bunch earlier than ours. I think all of them are in the top 5 as well in today's stage, and we get across the line here as 6th, so not ideal here for us. Paul Fietske also losing a lot of time here on these other riders, trying to do his best to get towards that line as quickly as possible, but a rough result here in 14th for Paul Fietske. Owen Cole's around 13 seconds behind the number 1, and Paul Fietske losing around a minute here on the yellow jersey, moving down even further in the general classification, losing 2 positions. Now in 7th and 10th are our 2 riders. You see me checking out this Portuguese rider here, looking incredibly strong in the past couple of stages. So great result here for the Portuguese rider in his home stage, I would say, or in his home tour, doing very, very strong results in these stages. No Isidora is still in 1st in the points classification at least, so that is good. And we are 4th and 5th in the young riders classification, and still in 3rd in the team classification. So we'll take that, but it's looking very, very difficult here for our riders. No Isidora gaining some positions, same for Diego. Those mountain statistics really paying off, as other riders are having many more difficulties in this race. Some almost 2 hours behind the number 1, so I'm happy that we're not in that region. Now on to the last stage here of the Volta. It is a time trial, once again, a 15.7 kilometer time trial, so it's a very, very long time trial here for us, and it will be a very tricky one. It seems to be a hilly one as well, so maybe this should still be beneficial for an Owen Cole or a Paul Fietske or an Isidora, riders that are doing very well here in these hill sections, that have pretty okay time trial statistics here in this stage. And you see me, I'm trying to control Jaewon Jun here now towards that finish line. He's not looking so good, as his time trial statistics aren't very great. And then I move on to Paul Fietske, as Paul Fietske is the main rider here for today's stage for our team. But look at the classification at this moment. Noah Isidora is all the way up front, looking very, very strong today. Our French rider had very good statistics, and Noah Isidora also looking very good in the statistics in today's race. I'm doubting between who should I ride with, is it Owen Cole or Paul Fietske, but look at the statistics of Owen Cole. So my best bet here for today is Paul Fietske, as Owen Cole does not have the statistics in today's race. Trying to get as much time here in this last stage, as again, 16 kilometers of a stage, so plenty of space here to try and get time on these other riders. That will probably finish somewhere behind us if we at least do a good result. We got first in the first intermediate time notification, I guess, so that's good, but that doesn't mean really anything here for this race. Our race can still fall apart here. We don't know how other riders have done here in the second half of this stage, so we need to push on here and try to get as good of a result as possible, regain some energy here in these downhill sections, and then spend that energy once again in the uphill sections. We are looking very strong here in today's race. Again, first in the intermediate time classification, so that's great here. 12 minutes now ridden, and the finish should be up ahead very quickly. Once again, great statistics here for Paul Fietske, so he's looking very strong. He sees one rider ahead as well. That will motivate him to keep pushing on here, to try and give everything here towards that finish line. The trickiest mountain section has been done, so we try to keep up the pace here now. It's still a little bit uphill, but after this uphill it will turn into downhill, and we just race and give everything here in this last 1 kilometer in this downhill section towards the finish line to try and get as good of a result as possible. Will we be in first? Can we beat Noah Isidore? Yes, we can. 12 seconds ahead of Noah Isidore even, and that will be the gap here towards these other riders. 12 seconds ahead of Noah Isidore, 15 seconds ahead of the number one, so we should move up a little bit in the general classification, or we should decrease the gap, the time gap, towards the number one in the general classification with our riders, which I am hoping for here in this stage. 1 and 2 here for the team is one. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, here in this stage. Owen Cole sadly 50 seconds behind Paul Fietske, not doing so well in today's stage, and it does move Paul Fietske up into 7th, passing Owen Cole once again. So really good job here from our German rider. A 7th place for him, a 9th place for Owen Cole. I think on average that means we moved up 1 position from the previous stage, so hey, a position gain is still pretty good here with the team. Noah Isidore also moving up 2 positions, obviously, because he rode a fantastic time trial here in the end. Our other riders falling a bit back here, or moving up a couple positions. It doesn't really matter because we won't get any points for the riders here all the way towards the back of the general classification. 2 riders in the top 10 is pretty good. The points classification won by Paul Fietske. It is quite the surprise, I should say, because I didn't know there were points at the end of this race. So Paul Fietske moving into first there as well, and we move into 2nd in the team classification. A pretty decent result here in the end for the team. And those decent results move us up into 14th place as well, over 6,000 points at the moment, almost 6,100, and we are in reach of that 13th place. We could move up there as well, but the gap towards 12th and up seems insurmountable, as those teams will most likely be riding World Tours as well. And those Grand Tours, I should say. So if they get a lot of points there, it will move us down once again. So we need to gain as many points in these smaller stages as we can. 14th place is pretty damn good in the team ranking. We also get 4 additional victories as well. Paul Fietske in the double digits now in 2nd places, so that is the first rider in the double digits here. As Noah Isidore extends his winning streak as well. Doing very strong here now are those 2 riders, and that also reflects in the points. As you can see here, Paul Fietske once again decreasing the gap to Noah Isidore, looking very strong in the points classification of the team. So I'm hoping that he can get another bit of another decrease here of the gap towards Noah Isidore in the coming stages. We'll see how he will do. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was it for today's episode. Another episode done as we move closer and closer towards the end of the season. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. Thank you guys as always for watching. I love you all. Have a great day. See you next time. Goodbye.